I'm Barry Tramel, and I say one of the bigger mistakes in sports in the year 2010 was when Brett Favre got back on that plane to go to Minnesota.
It hasn't been a kind season to Brett Favre, but did it hurt his overall legacy? From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, you're watching The Press Row. I'm Jenni Carlson. Barry, this guy has got a lot of seasons built into that legacy, but this one, it's becoming pretty memorable with his off-field stuff, the on-field issues, injuries. It's been a rough year for Brett Favre.
Well, it's been a terrible year for Brett Favre, and what Brett Favre did was indeed tarnish his legacy. He's gone from American hero to sort of the punching boy for the NFL. And what he's done is the classic tale of, we see it in sports all the time, we see it in politics, we see it in religion, we see it in education, we see it all over. Somebody who stays too long. Brett Favre has outlived his welcome in Minnesota and in the NFL. Last year he was a storybook hero at the age of 40, playing quarterback the way he did. Today he looks like a 41-year-old quarterback with his chin busted up and the ball floating to the other team and the Minnesota Vikings not winning games. What happened with Minnesota was this. They knew all along that Brett Favre was not the long-term solution to their franchise. Now they're starting to realize he's not even the short-term solution, and they've got a major problem.
I think we now know the answer to the question this next offseason, is Brett Favre coming back? I don't think there's any way he comes back next season. I think this year there was question. I think there was still doubt in his mind. He had that great year a year ago, was one of the best stories of that 2009 NFL season, playing as well as he did, taking the Vikings as far as he did. And I think when you have that kind of season, even though you may be ready, you may feel ready in your mind and your body to stop playing the game, you still wonder, well, maybe I could do that one more time. Maybe I've got one more season in me. I think now we've seen that Brett Favre is starting to have the physical breakdowns that you would expect a guy to have at the age of 41. And obviously, this Minnesota team, they're just not where they were a year ago. You can tell that it's just not as fun. And Barry, I think that a lot of this, I mean, he's still going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks to play in the NFL. But I think you talk about his public perception, that's where he's taken the biggest hit.
Well, I mean, we're talking about a guy, if he stays in Mississippi and retires, the Sturger deal with the Jets employee, that doesn't come to light, doesn't become a national story. Favre doesn't become such a hot button issue in his personal life. His personal deportment is not into play. He's taken a hit. I don't know how much longer these Wrangler commercials are going to last. I mean, I can't imagine Wranglers fired up about showing Brett Favre commercials. So it's just, I can remember Willie Mays in 1973, 1972, trying to catch fly balls for the Mets, and really it was almost a reaction of pity from the American baseball fan. It's getting that way for the Favre people. Even if you don't like Brett Favre, you sort of cringe when you see him out there thinking, I don't really want to see another train wreck. And that's what this season is becoming for Brett Favre.
You talk about Willie Mays, though. Here we are in 2010, 30 plus years, almost 40 years removed from those days. And I don't think a lot of people think of Willie Mays now for the late career blunders. And I think there'll come a time when Brett Favre, we probably do remember more what happened in Green Bay, that great season a year ago. Those are the things that pop to mind, the play that Brett Favre was able to bring to the field. But it's going to take some time, because in 5 years, in 10 years, that's not going to be the top of the head thought for Brett Favre. We're going to be thinking about the train wreck that was this last season with all the things that went on. And, it'll take some time. I think his legacy will, at some point, will go back to more what he did on the field. But 30 years, 40 years, it may be a while before that actually happens. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.